Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend, and he will tell you his name. My name is Joseph Operemo. This is the Heritage Libraries. We are the proprietors of the Heritage Library. Briefly, the Heritage Library is going to be a library that combines the cafe and the library, and we shall be offering books, more than 3,000 books on different topics: management, autobiographies, marketing, sales, love, marriages, editor's choice. So we shall be having also books like spirituality and religion. We are having politics, all kinds of books for those people who love business. We shall also have them all here. Today, my friend here and I, we are going to talk about books, ideally. And we want to talk about why books matter in our society, why now we all must learn how to read, to have the culture of reading, and then a little bit of history about ourselves. To begin with, let him introduce himself briefly, where he comes from, what he does, and yeah, we'll begin from there. My friend, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Yes, please.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who is viewing us from wherever you are. We welcome you to this smart, beautiful library. My name is Justin. Amanjolo Justin is my name, and I love books, and books brought me this far. So I would like you to take books seriously, and it changes the way you view things. So yeah.
Thank you. Justin, you're most welcome. Today we are going to discuss about books. In the beginning, how did you first start reading books, and what inspired you to read books, and who's inspired you to read books?
Well, initially I used to know about storybooks, and
Yes.
it's not easy to start reading books, and if you do not know what it means, how good reading books are, you will not start reading books. So I've not been reading books until 2014. That was when I started my Form 4.
Yeah.
So during vacation, in our life we have people we look up to.
Yes, that's
yeah.
true.
So there's this one uncle of mine, is called Uncle Henry, and it's someone that I really look up to. I admire all his ways, and he's a reader above all. So
Yes.
he loves reading books, and so I've not met him for about 8 years. So we met during my Form 4 vacation. So he brought me a book. I saw the book around here. Yes, right here. This is the Success Principle by Jack Canfield.
Famous author, yeah.
Yeah, so this book really changed me from then. It's the first book I read. I even didn't finish it all, surprisingly. So I read it like 3 chapters.
Yes.
But that alone made me yearn for more books. But for now, I've finished now. I've now finished reading this. Yeah, so initially I used to have this mindset that certain things belong to certain class of people.
True, yes, yes.
And so ever since I started reading books, I realized that we are all equal. We have the biggest weapon we have is our brain.
True.
So how we use it determines what we do in our lives and how we live our life. Yeah.
Thank you. Just to show you viewers, we are doing this from our own library that we are setting up, and we are actually even using a smartphone for shooting this video. We are doing everything ordinary. That's how, to relate to what he was saying, that the biggest asset we have is our brain. We decided to come up with this, that hey, we may not have the best budget, we may not have the best equipment, but we can use what we have from where we can start from. So, Mr. Justin, from the day when you started reading books, you were an ordinary person. But then, I am sure you've read a number of books, not as many as possible, but you've read a number of books. After reading books, do you see power in you developing, even when you've not materially seen that power? But do you see a long-term power that you are developing that will be of interest to you in the next coming years?
Absolutely, yeah. So before I started reading books, I wasn't a leader.
Yeah, true.
So and there are virtues that you see in people.
Yes.
So ever since I started reading books, I have found myself in leadership positions,
Yes.
and people have complimented me positively. They tell me you're a gentleman, you're knowledgeable, you do something extraordinary, and that really motivated me. So it made me to really think of building me and having a better version of me every day.
Yes.
So these books that I've read has they have really significantly affected my life positively.
Yes.
And yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Now, what advice would you give to anyone who thinks is ordinary, has nothing to do, and he sees his life as something wasted, and but he failed exams, or he failed his chemistry, you know, the things, the how hard the things are, but doesn't have interest in reading books? How would you bring that person on board to inspire that person to read book? And what kind of books, what kind of book would you recommend somebody to start something, the culture of reading?
Oh, you don't need to start big. In most of these books, people have told us their stories.
Yes.
Some are school dropouts, but they ended up having multi-million businesses, and their story starts very little. They are ones like us, ordinary people. So when they started working on their mindset,
Yes.
how they see the other part of the world, they conquered the world.
True.
And they explored, and so they're really swimming in multiples of wealth. And so it really teaches me that whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. It's just a matter of starting. But if you don't start, you're there at your comfort zone, you're hopeless, you not know. So you can really self-identity, you can identify yourself through reading these books, and these books speak direct to your souls. They speak direct to your souls. They speak about the daily things that every human being experiences. And if you're not comfortable about your situation, these books tell you how to live that uncomfortable situation.
Yes.
Yeah, so it really makes you progress a lot. So whoever is so comfortable, whoever is hopeless about the life, you have to know that life is a journey, and then life is a combination of things that we do every day. So if you want to change your life, you have to do it differently. And in this case, you can start reading books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just to tell you viewers, there is no host here. We are all hosts. At any time, we can switch asking questions, simply because we came up with this. And even him is going to be asking questions, and we see how we can blend in. And we hope that you viewers, you can understand. There's no host. We want to revolutionize how things are. The host, no. Sometimes we believe thinking outside the box is the best way. So we thought about this. Everything here, all the setup and everything, we are thinking outside the box. So there's no host. So when you see him asking me questions, just know that he has time to be the host also. Something new in the industry of film now also. Okay, now, there is a saying that when you sit with the 10 idle minds, people with idle minds, the 11th person is you. When you sit with 10 stupid people, the 11th stupid person is you. When you sit with 5 gossiping people, the 6th person is you. If you sit with 3 intelligent people, the 4th intelligent person is you. If you enter into I also have now my own ambivalent. If you enter into a room of books, if there are 1,000 intelligent people wrote those books, you are yet to write your own story. You are part of those intelligent people. Even when you have not read all books, but just being around next, besides, or even holding a book, or even talking about books, makes you intelligent. Do you believe that there is power beyond our own understanding, beyond what we know? But when we take the time to pick up a book and read it, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Can you learn? Can you change your life by just reading the book based on what all I've said. And then after that, you want to be the host again now and ask me questions.
Yeah, I'm a social media addict, so
Yes.
I love social media so much.
Yeah.
And this has really, deteriorated my life.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of, time in social media, even when I'm at work. I work with the medical field, so when I'm at work, the little break I get, I run on social media
Yes.
instead of reading.
Yes.
I realized I wasted a lot of time
Yes.
on those things. The first, and that wasted a lot of my time was Facebook.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and in the Facebook, I see people making business.
Yes.
People are making business through content. They're selling their products. For me, I go and like people's posts. It's
Yes.
yeah, that is really, really, really. So ever since I started reading books, I developed that culture that you shouldn't do things that waste a lot of your time. If they are not developing you,
Yes.
you need to leave it.
True.
So I left it. This is an opportunity. I intend to learn a lot from here.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wasn't influenced by my peer
Yes. Yes.
to read books. Yeah, I was influenced by someone who loves reading books.
Yes. Good.
So before then, we used to think that reading books are for exams. Reading only your field of specialty.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
if you're an engineer, you need to read all that. So it's contrary to that is not right. So if you do that, you'll be fixed at a corner. So you'll not comment on other things. So I remember one quote told by my mentor. So Henry told me, you cannot grow more than the knowledge you know. So if you want to grow more than the knowledge you know, you have to read more knowledge. You need to read, that enriches you with knowledge, and yeah, you learn a lot of things. So that comes with self-improvement, self-growth, and yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's Justin. Justin is, you may wonder that these are young men who are hosting this event, but indeed, yes, we are all young men. We are under the age of youth. We are really youth, and we are creating this for ourselves. And believe me or not, I now switch the host questions to my co-host here to now ask me anything, then I will also get it. Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joseph. Okay. You see, guys, I met Joseph a few days ago. Before then, I spent like 2 hours with Joseph, but I realized he's a very productive person. The way he thinks, the way he speaks, really, really makes me admire how he does his things. And then there was that one question I asked him, what do you do? What do you do for a living? He says he's a business person. He has a lot of things that he does. And I asked him, how did you become who you are?
Yes.
He told me the number of books he read. This guy is moving Google, let's say, encyclopedia. This guy has a lot of knowledge. So I intend to learn a lot from you, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you.
And for a beginner, okay, if I compare you and me, I'm a beginner in this stage, so you've read more than me. So for someone who is just starting to read, which books would you recommend for such people?
Yeah. When I began, thank you so much, Justin. Justin is a wonderful man, and I also learned from him a lot. I also consider myself a beginner. I have that kind of attitude that when you ask me something, I'll tell you that I don't know. But it gives me quite a gap of learning what I don't know. I'm a beginner. My story is amazing. One with a lot of sorrow, hardships, and then one that led me into books. But to cut the story short, is the books that I recommend people to read first to get into reading culture are books first that motivate you, or story-like books like a novel, or a real life story of a person that touches you, that you can relate to. For me, it was Robert H. Schuller, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do. and I was really down, and I landed into that book. And then there is a book from the late Miles Monroe. It is Unleash Your Potential Within You. And that book specifically touched my mind, because there was a quote in that book that said that the grave is the richest place on the planet. And I wondered, why is the grave the richest place on the planet? So when
of all things.
Of all things.
Not a house of gold
No,
and
no,
all
no.
that.
It says the richest place on the planet. And then when I continued reading down, it made sense. He said in his book that in the grave are a lot of potential that were never unleashed in the world, and people died with that with them. And for one point, I looked at it and I said, by the way, any of us is yet going to the grave. And if we don't unleash our potential, the graves are going to be rich with ideas. And then the famous speaker once said that that when you're in the hospital, that one time he went to the hospital, and he gave a story that in the hospital there are a lot of people who have not unleashed their potential and are struggling with life. And they are only asking for, give me one more chance and I'll make the difference. That opened my mind. So those books helped me. When you read such books, you find at the back of them, most of them, they recommend you other books. So Robert H. Schuller recommended me some books of the same kind. And then when I read even the other ones, recommended me. Before I know it, you start reading what you love. And from there, you specialize. You find yourself geared into an area. And that led me to reading a lot of books in different fields. I'm a generalist. They usually say that the jack of all trades is a master of none. But for me, when it comes to reading, I'm a generalist. I master almost all. When certain topic interests me, I go and read it, and I read it within a few hours. I know it. Yeah, that is it. Okay. So I advise people to start reading what they love, or what inspires them, or what makes them not to leave that book. And one of the recommendations I would recommend people to read is The Alchemist. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Alchemist, I saw it somewhere here.
Somewhere
Right here.
Right here,
Alchemist.
yes. I think there are two.
Wow.
And The Alchemist is, if this is a book that when you start reading, you want to put it down. By the time you are done, you look at it. If you see here at the back of it, there are other recommendations. That's what I said already. There are other recommendations. By the time you finish it, you start looking for books like The Alchemist. Before you know it, you are into reading. That's how simple we can advise somebody who doesn't have love for reading. But the beauty of it is the books that I've recommended to you, or I'm recommending to you, or I will be recommending to you. Very easy books to read. Language of A, B, C, D. There's nothing technical, or there's no rocket science in them. That's the most interesting things about recommendations. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. I want to ask you this very personal question.
Yes, go ahead.
I love reading. And certain things, small things, titles tend to attract me.
Yes.
And for example, I start reading. I've just started reading The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yes.
But I've seen many other catchy titles here.
Yes.
And you see, along the way, I lose focus, and I want to start